You know, when you're feeling danger, you don't think about anyone. You have to forget thinking about everybody, not to lose your control. If you start thinking, you don't know how to behave, what to do. There you lose everything. You do your job, at the same time, you have to fight against the fear. And you shouldn't even mention the name of the fear because it goes on you, it controls you, and then you will lose the control. My name is Alfred Yaqub Zade. I am born in Iran. I was a student studying internal design, and then I find myself in the street protesting against Shah, the king of Iran. I said to myself, what are you doing in the street? I don't believe in Khomeini. I don't believe in his revolution. But I want to be presented in the street with my friends. And the only thing that he gave me the idea is to go by camera, to be the eyewitness, not to protest. This is my first photo was done in 1978. I was amateur, I was student. I didn't know what is camera. But it was the tool, the camera, that kept me in the street. And this is the day that Khomeini arrived, because he was exiled in France, and then he arrived. And then this statue was next to Khomeini's headquarters. That it was, you know, people, they brought it and they threw it in the street. This is the image that it's very interesting. It was the day that the Shah announced the state of emergency. And the tanks, they came in the street to show off. And then I was very surprised because everything went very peacefully. And this is again, after revolution, everybody went to the garrisons, to the barracks, you know, to the army barracks, and they confiscated all the guns, and everybody had a gun. And this is one of the big meetings they had in the center of Tehran. That one is the Islamic Republic. The woman, she has her hijab, she has her gun. Like this, it was symbolizing the revolution, and especially a woman holding the gun, even she didn't know how to use it and how to hold it, you know. This moment is after revolution, because when the revolution happened, there were many political groups involved in Iranian revolution. Leftist, communist, as what Iranian Shah used to say, Marxist, Islamist, they were the Mujahideen Khalq. It means they were Islamist, but they were a little bit leftist. Khomeini, when took over the power, he didn't share the power with them. And the other ones protest, and they were arrested one by one, prison, torture, execution, everything was over. And this is the moment, but this is a protest against the Iranian regime, the new regime. I was neutral, but as a human being, I can say this is right, this is wrong, but I don't make slogans. As a photographer that I am in the action, in the scene, I'm not gonna speak. My photos, they speak by themselves, and the people are the judge to see and to make their own judgment. Just after revolution, I said, okay, I have to decide what I'm doing. Do I go continue my study or I continue taking pictures? But at the same time that revolution finished, post-revolution started, problems with the different groups, I was in the street again taking photos of all the action against the new regime. At the meantime, the American embassy was taken over by the students. I started working with Associated Press. That there I become somehow a little bit more professional. At the same time that this US embassy that I'm taking photos, Iran-Iraq war started. And I said, well, I have to participate to go to the war. And I didn't know what is war. I never seen war. Mostly that I knew about the war, it was the Hollywood movies, you know? You see all these films, and then well, I see beautiful movies, bombing, shooting, running, and most of the film, most of the movies, they were the World War II films. One of the very symbolic photos in Iran-Iraq war. It's like an icon in Iran. They're still using and publishing, talking about it. And this photo was used as a propaganda picture a lot in Iran for recruiting young boys. The army was destroyed by Khomeini's decision. The imperial army was crushed. And then Khomeini said, I don't need army, I need the Basij. Basij, there are the volunteers, civilians. And this boy is a part of the Basij. It's not army. And normally my photo was used very well for the propaganda. And for them, it was better to have a lot of young people because they don't ask the question. You come to the war, you are not married, you don't have children, and you go to front. I am just in front of him like I am in front of you. Normally, when you take a picture, you have to be very close and very clear. When the people, they look at your picture, they have to feel they are touching it. They are part of the photo. You have to find a good angle, right distance. It could be very dangerous. You could give your life, but the point is to give a good view to the people, you have to take a right close place that people, when they see it, they feel that they are in it. You know, when I went to Abadan, to the south of Iran, and then I made a deal with myself. When I saw this, I said, here is the reality. It's not anymore Hollywood films. You have to take a decision. You have to resist, not to be afraid. Many things happens. You have to control yourself, or you abandon your camera, you go back to your study. From that moment, I said, okay, anything I see, it's my problem. If I see a lot of dead bodies, I don't cry. I don't have nightmare. If bombs, they come, I go. I don't go back. I have to advance. But this, I brainwashed myself the day I was in the south of Iran, and I cleared everything with me. For this, I mean, you're a human being, of course, you have afraid. It's part of our nature. You have to cry, you have to laugh. It means you cannot stop crying, you cannot stop laughing. The most important for me was, beside the war, because soldiers, they're supposed to be killed for their country, you know, for their cause. But here the loser ones are the civilians. And these are the losers. They have no guns. They lost their loved one. They lost their house. They lost their beautiful garden. And they are refugees. And I worked a lot on not on the war, behind the war. That it can be anything concerning the human loss, you know, the human life. I went to Lebanon, and then I settled in Beirut. They had already their civil war continuing, and I entered in their war, you know. Here is the civil war in suburbs. These are Shia guys fighting with the Christians. And at the same time that I was in Lebanon, the moment I arrived, quickly I started working with Newsweek magazine, American magazine. And here, for example, again, I am in the south, in the suburbs of Beirut. This is Mar Mikhail Church, you know, on the Green Line. And here that I was with all these Shia fighters, and they were fighting with the Christians. They took over the church, and they were shooting from this, you know, church to each one. And then, okay, they went to cemetery. They took out all the skulls. They brought them. They put them in a checkpoint. And then in 1984, in that moment, army split. Lebanese army, Shia went to Shia, Sunni to Sunni, Christian to Christians. And it was very heavy fighting here. Heavy, everywhere they were fighting. In 1985, they had a big fight between Amal movement and Palestinian you know, groups, where mostly they were belong to Arafat. And I went with Amal fighters to Sabra Shatila, and once I saw a hand grenade on the air coming, and I was with the fighters, and I said to the Shabab, be careful, there is a grenade, pull back. And the moment I was there, and I got a few shrapnels in my head, on my leg, and I have one in my leg already still there. They cannot take it out because it makes damages. And then I was injured. I didn't take a lot of pictures in the moment of the attack. But in news, you don't plan it. You don't plan the war. You go there, now it's a war in Syria. You, like a paratrooper, you jump, you are there. You nothing, you go around, you do your job. You have nothing to do. You have to, first of all, the people are there, you have to make a contact with them. You have to make friends with them, to let you do it, to understand why you are there. Some places they say, get out. They will arrest you or they will shoot you on the spot. You have to know, if you're going there, you're taking this risk. Is it worth it or no? But this, sometimes you take the risk, sometimes you don't go even. One day I was kidnapped by Hezbollah. I spent 1 month and a half you know, kept by Hezbollah, that they were saying I am American, Israeli, French spy. And I had 3 mock executions. Hezbollah guys, they used to come with the guns for 3-4 guys, and they point at me and they shoot me. But okay, once you say, you are dead. Second, you say, okay, this time is 100%. And the third time, it's over. And they were laughing, you know. But I used to scream at them and insult them. Tell them, okay, shoot, don't play a game. 1987, the Intifada started. And I said, okay, I go to cover the Intifada. Everywhere they were fighting, and the most interesting for me was when I see there is no guns and you had all the people, all the kids with the stone throwing to the soldiers. And I spent a long time there. It's like every normal scene for me. You know, here they put the roadblocks, people are throwing stones, an army that are in the roadblocks. I am just sitting in front of the soldiers. I am there to witness them. I am not their spokesperson. I reflect the reality as a pressman, as a photojournalist, and then when it's published in the press, people, they see and they make their own judgment. In 1979, during the Russian invasion, we had Iranian Revolution, and we heard a lot about about Afghan war because he's our neighbor. For me, it was easy to work there because first I can look like them when I keep my beard. You know, I'm not a foreigner man with the blonde hair, blue eyes, and I speak their language. Big fighters are afraid to die because they love someone. The afraid is not just you're afraid, because you're afraid to lose what you have, your girlfriend, your wife, your children, whatever. And the other side for me in all this war are the human cause, human tragedy, human life. From the day when I started my photography, it was with the war. And the war is gonna go for millions of years. And I see many wars, many reasons for the war, many reasons for revolution. But in the same time, when I went through this experience of Yazidis, and mainly is the Yazidi nation, because this genocide happened to them many, many times. During Ottoman, 70 times happened, nobody speaks. And the point is, when I went there, when I see all these women, that they were raped, they were sold, I talked to them, and okay, they were very ashamed to show their face to me. And I said, look, this is your cause, you have to speak, tell the truth, even if you feel shy, it happened to you. And okay, they were happy to show me, and I met many women that they were very open to me. They decided to have a military action against Daesh. And I find these young girls very courageous, because I was with them in a Sinjar, you know, and they were like a 20 meter to ISIS. And the Yazidi units that they were, you know, on the front line, nobody, even in America, in Europe, nobody gives important position, the military position to women. And they had some important position on the line with Daesh that it was in the hand of the woman alone. For this, I really admire them, you know. I see them, they are fighting for their right. And I said, okay, I put whatever, all my energy to show them, to introduce them to the world. They deserve it. This moment is just 20 meters to ISIS. And the worst one is, they are fighting with ISIS because ISIS, they kidnapped them, they raped them, they sold them, they cut their head. And normally they killed all the men. They kept the woman. I don't have favorite photo, they're all favorite. You know, it's like this photo for me is one of very good pictures. But the problem is, I have done many countries, many photos, I was many places. And they are for me like my children. And I cannot say, if I have 10 kids, 5 boys, 5 girls, and you say which one you like, I cannot say which one you like. I love all of them. I started taking, I remember during Iranian, after revolution, there were many graffitis on the American embassy's wall. And they draw a lot of images of the moment that the students, they jump in the American embassy's yard. American staff that they were taking hostage, they were all drawn on the wall. I did a lot of photos of this, the walls of the embassy. And then slowly, in all the countries that there was some conflict, they used to draw graffitis. And then I find it very interesting because it's a kind of way the people, they were expressing their own problem, their own wishes. When you protest is different, but when you draw, it's much more clear and the visual, it has nice colors and nice design. For this, I decided to photograph in all over the world. In some countries like Egypt, Lebanon, Berlin Wall, there were a lot of graffitis, just expression of people, and it's the way that the people of the street, they speak, It has nothing to do as official propaganda. And for this, I find it very interesting and important because it's something neutral than people saying things because they belong to a party. In Paris, you have, spreaded graffitis, and I photographed them because, they have different way expression, and they are all like a new generation. For example, this gentleman, he's doing his graffiti, but we don't understand what it means because they are coded. And in many places, and you say what it means, he said, it's a coded. I'm not gonna tell you. Now I told him, but maybe I can find it on Google. He said, try. I got my retirement, but I'm still proposing to magazines, to media, and I can still run and climb the wall. And I am still strong to fight for my cause. For this, I'm still able to hold my camera. Now I have a time to make books, exhibitions, and I think it's my duty to make books because like this, we have to preserve the human mistakes, the human glory, and the human history.